Ladies and gentlemen, things are getting very, very real. Blackrock is now officially warning people, especially this entitled generation, they say, to get ready for shortages. We're seeing food prices around the world absolutely skyrocket from what's happening with Russia and Ukraine. We're seeing energy being rationed around the world and especially around Europe. And it's looking like the pain American families are feeling at the grocery store is only just about to get worse. People, this is not me trying to spread fear. This is really happening right now. And I'm telling you this so you can prepare. And I've been trying to warn people about this for months now. So everyone, what exactly is happening with the shortages, with inflation, with the possible coming famine, with energy rationing? Let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into it. Okay, first things first is this, everyone. Look at this. Blackrock president says entitled generation is now learning about shortages. Well, I think this Blackrock president is a bit out of touch. He's a billionaire trying to tell us, the middle class, the people, to get used to shortages, calling us entitled, where I don't think he's going to go hungry, or I don't think he's going to go cold anytime soon. Listen to this. Blackrock president warned that inflation is having dramatic effects on the economy, with an entire generation now learning what it means to suffer from shortages. Now, what is true in this statement is millennials, meaning the millennial generation, haven't gone through a period of high inflation like what happened in the 70s and 80s. And they also haven't gone through a period of high interest rates, because normally all it takes is for one generation to pass away for the current generation to forget everything that happened throughout history. For the first time, this generation is going to go into a store and not be able to get what they want. And according to this Blackrock president, he's saying we have a very entitled generation that has never had to sacrifice. Well, I don't think that's true at all. This generation is having to sacrifice home ownership. Home prices are at crazy record levels. Also, they haven't been able to benefit from this crazy 40-year bull run from when the Federal Reserve and central banks around the world have just dropped interest rates lower and lower from 18%, creating huge amounts of wealth for people that have been able to buy assets since 30 or 40 years ago. He says the economy is reckoning with what he dubbed scarcity inflation, or fallout from shortages of workers, agriculture supplies, and housing, and of oil in some regions. Well, he's definitely right there, but listen to his warning. I'll put on your seatbelts because this is something we haven't seen, he said. Or what I think he's referring to is this current generation hasn't seen. But I'm sure some of you, my viewers, may have experienced the high inflation of the 70s and 80s. But this is just the beginning of the story we're covering today. Things are going on around the world right now that are definitely very, very scary. And people, again, we need to prepare right now before it's too late. Things are getting very serious and time is running out. Look at this, everyone. This is absolutely insane. German retailer Aldi Nord to raise prices by 20 to 50% on Monday. This is very unfortunate for Germany that already experienced crazy high and hyperinflation in the early 1900s and are now about to face another crisis 100 years later. Meat, sausage products, butter to be more expensive amid rising production, energy costs due to the Russia-Ukraine war. And you may be watching this from the US or Australia, etc., and be saying, well, that's just happening in Germany. This doesn't affect me here. I don't know if you've been to the grocery store recently, but this is happening everywhere around the world. And if this is happening in Europe, it's only a matter of time before it comes to a country near you. And I know many of my viewers are already saying that prices are up much more than the CPI numbers. They're saying their grocery bills are up anywhere between 20 and 30%. But it's not just this. We have so much more to cover. Because look at this. German prices surged more than expected and are most since the early 90s. And look at this chart here, everyone. Prices are going absolutely crazy. As we can see here, prices began to fall in 2020, but now this chart is going parabolic, and this is not looking like a good trend at all. But of course, the central banks are way behind the curve. And people, like I've been saying recently, the central banks, they're going to do a lot of talk. They're going to talk about how they're going to stop inflation, but they're way behind the curve, and they're not going to do what it would really take to bring inflation down of lifting interest rates above 5%. So Bundesbank chief said that the ECB shouldn't postpone raising borrowing costs from the record lows if inflation demands, and may be able to start doing so in 2022. What are they talking about here, people? They're still questioning if they should lift interest rates or not. They're still questioning if inflation is actually high and if it's going to stay. I don't know what these central banks are smoking, or it's just that they know that they have no power to stop what is coming. A report by the country's Council of Economic Experts warned the same day that a halt in supplies could trigger a recession and push inflation higher. Even without that scenario, they expect prices to rise an average of 6.2% in 2022. But what do central banks and governments do to fix the problem of printing too much money to create higher inflation? How do they fix it, people? That's right, print more money and give more money to make prices even higher. Listen to this. It didn't work before, but they're going to try it again. To help consumers and businesses weather the burden of higher costs, the government last week announced a second support package worth about 16 billion euros, that's 18.9 billion, including a temporary cut in fuel prices, one-off payments to households, and subsidized public transport. This is insane, everyone. This record inflation has been caused from money printing by central banks and by too much stimulus from governments. So, what are they doing to fix this problem? That's right, more stimulus and more money printing. Because it didn't work the last 10 times, but hey, let's try it one more time and see if it works. That, everyone, is insanity. Now, why I've been so urgent in trying to tell people to prepare is because of what's happening now. If you wait till last minute, it is too late. And it's better to be prepared 1 year too early than 1 day too late. Look what's happening now. Listen to this. Germany moves towards gas rationing in a standoff over ruble payments. And what I think is this could just be the beginning. It could just be gas. But then, who knows, it could start to come to food rationing as food prices skyrocket and people begin to start hoarding food. So I don't know how much more evidence, news, facts, and data I need to show you, to tell you, to shake you, to wake you up. Hello, things are getting serious. Start preparing now by buying food, creating your own garden, and also having extra water, an alternative power source, and extra fuel on hand. Because the central banks aren't going to stop this inflation. They're going to keep bailing out the markets. They're going to try to keep stimulating the economy. They're not going to let the natural correction come. They're going to keep artificially stimulating these markets, and that's why I don't think a crash is coming. I think we could be facing a melt up where inflation gets worse, your purchasing power gets devalued, and the stock market doesn't fall in dollar terms, but the stock market returns may not actually outpace real inflation. And this is why I'm also diversifying into gold, silver, and Bitcoin as well. But everyone, that was just a quick update with what's going on with the shortages, with food inflation, with gas rationing. What do you think will happen? Let me know. Now, for all my loyal viewers and subscribers still watching, you are awesome. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.